So I want to talk to everybody about our investments in EXA5, the latest release of Exascaler. We talked a lot about it in the past user groups, both 1 year ago and a year ago. And we talked about, in the future, we're going to create all these new enterprise stroke data management features to help us work more rigorously against these broader use cases that Exascaler is being deployed into. It's a long time away that we were in the world of just being a fast file system that scales. Exascaler is being used in complex research data management environments where customers really need to be able to move that data, access that data in very flexible ways as all the user ecosystem evolves and the application that goes with that. We do have a lot of interest in public cloud, both pure public cloud and also for bursting. Typical customers, especially in the enterprise, want to see an ability to move data to the cloud. Even if they're not doing it today, they want to be able to see that potential to make sure they're not locked in on-prem or vice versa, locked in the cloud. We've always been known as having these large building blocks that very efficiently serve extremely large capacities. And that makes us a great play for active archive, where, as we move forward in time, whilst Flash encroaches upon HDD then encroaches upon tape, and of course gives you a much, much lower latency for access to data. And last, but certainly not least, let me get rid of that one. Last but not least, at-scale AI. We'll be hearing from NVIDIA, great partners of ours, been working super tight with them. We've got a specialist team working entirely with NVIDIA. And that's really played very nicely over the past couple of years. A lot of investment there and a lot of results. And effectively what I'm going to do is remind you what's happened in the past 12 months and then give you some glimpses into what's going to happen in the next 12 months. So as I said, we've been broadening Exascaler out in EXA5. That means multiple things. Always we have an eye on performance, and performance isn't just throughput, isn't just IOPS, it's very, very detailed. So we've done little enhancements to the way we serve mmap IO for AI frameworks. We've enhanced the scaling properties of our metadata system, so you can scale out really limitlessly in metadata, which didn't used to be a feature at all for the file system. And we've done very special performance optimizations for other niche workloads, particularly reducing latencies for analytics, and you'll see some results later on. More importantly than that, really though, was building these data management, user management, and tiering capabilities to make us a very, very flexible, scalable environment. So flexible, I mean different applications can access us regardless of the protocols they're using. Flexible means users can choose how to balance Flash and HDD in ways that are still transparent to end users. And transparent tiering and data management together, this means you have ultimate control over your data. Not only do you have control in moving it from A to B, from on-prem to cloud, or from on-prem to an S3 data store, or moving data within the system, but also you have much better visibility into where that data is, how it's being accessed, which users are accessing that data, and that really helps our customers maintain higher service levels. By having insights into production workloads, essentially our administrators of these systems are able to keep systems up more effectively, respond to users more quickly and more accurately. And we've also been working on security. So security gradually, incrementally, every year, we see more and more of our customer base up-leveling their requirements when it comes to security. And we're ahead of that curve, and there's quite a lot coming as well in 2021. So with that, I'll take you through some of the major features we've had in 2020 and are now released in Exascaler 5.2. The big one, and huge rounds of applause to the engineering team of Exascaler, is to build snapshots without taking any away of our performance of Exascaler. One of the big challenges when we were thinking about this more than 2.5 years ago was how do we deliver snapshots to help users find old files they've accidentally modified, to have a consistent snapshot point in time copy of a file system for which you can apply backups or DR. How do we do that within Exascaler so that existing customers can upgrade with a nice clean upgrade path to this new snapshot capable system? Really tough challenge. And the reason we wanted to do this is not only just for the ease of use of existing customers, but because our file system has got so many wonderful performance optimizations into it, particularly around NVMe and flash management, that we didn't want to disrupt that. And there were other routes which would have disrupted that. So anyway, now it's ready. Whole file system snapshots using a very efficient copy on write technology built deep into the file system is available from 5.2, and it really delivers on those two major use cases. And one is user self-service. They can look through their snapshot history, find old files that they've accidentally modified or deleted, or maybe have been maliciously encrypted. And also use case number two, we can use these snapshots of the file system to peel off copies and put them remotely for the purposes of DR. Okay, so snapshot was a huge one. Thanks very much to engineering for that. Stratagem Sync, the sync capabilities just came out in 5.2. What sync does is it allows us natively within Exascaler to move files from Exascaler to a remote store. And that remote store might be another file system, or it might be an object store. We will be building up these facilities. The major point here is it's native and it's parallel and it's fast. It's complemented by another piece of software, which we'll talk about right at the end of this presentation. But this gives you native tools that allow you to get to work quickly in creating copies of subdirectory structures and moving them into the cloud or moving them into an object store or another file system. Data services have been quite a long piece of work. We started this 2 years ago. NFS and SMB, based on open scale-out technologies, are now available in front of Exascaler, and that allows us to push tens of gigabytes a second into Exascaler from either of those protocols. More interestingly is our S3 service. Our S3 is purely scale-out. It comes from DDN technology, which we've built over the past 7 years or so. It's very efficient, it's fully containerized, and very, very lightweight. So with our S3 data services, again, we can push several gigabytes a second per server or virtual server. We can scale that out. And essentially what this use case, the primary use case is, we have customers often in AI, but sometimes in general research, that they want to ingest data through S3, which makes sense for less intelligent appliances out there on the internet or whatever, and then analyze with the file system, which is by far the fastest route for the AI frameworks to access that data. So we're really presenting a very, very easy solution for that use case. Individual users or whole groups of users can use the S3 object store to present their data out or ingest their data in. Hot pools is a big one. Paul mentioned that we still do see, I mean, in fact, it's just reality. There's still a decent life for hard drive technology for capacity-oriented systems, which need to be cost-effective, especially in research and academia, right? So even to 2030, there's going to be a significant role for HDD. So whilst flash is really number one in our minds with respect to getting performance out of all of our workloads, HDD still has this important place in presenting reasonable performance, very cost-effective capacity at very large scale. So because of that, we built hot pools. So again, we're in our third generation of hot pools now, so it's mature technology. It's taking advantage of very native features inside Exascaler. And essentially what happens is you build a flash pool, you build a pool out of HDDs, and we will automatically in the background move hot data into the hot pool and cooling data into the cool pool. So your applications tend to always get the benefit of the fast NVMe flash layer, but your budget gets the benefit for the vast volume of your data being held on HDDs. And as Paul mentioned, we do have specific appliances now in just the right shape to deliver this and scale this technology out. Security keeps coming back. We started a long time ago, fortunately, We've got a great team who's dedicated to improving security in Exascaler, and we already have quite a good feature set actually. The one we talk about, because it's interesting, is multi-tenancy, which allows us to have multiple groups out there, and we very, very strictly make sure they can't see each other's data. We also have auditing, we have at-rest encryption, and there's more coming. So you'll see that later in the deck. I'll tell you what we're doing in 2021. But there's an inherently strong feature set within Exascaler which works in these containerized worlds and virtualized worlds, which is a very helpful starting point. And we've added in this multi-tenancy audit logs and also KMIP server-based at-rest encryption as well. So pretty comprehensive set of security, but still more to do, and I'm going to tell you about that next week. In the next slides. And this is also a bit of a journey slide. We've done a lot this year to bring much better visualizations to our customers. We've talked about this last year, and we've essentially improved those visualizations, and you can see one of them here. What we're doing is for every job that's running, be it an AI job, an HPC job, or whatever, often what you see as a storage administrator is just some workload. The storage systems are busy, somebody's using them, or many applications are using it. But you don't usually get to find out who is using it and how they're using it. What Exascaler does is it allows you to see exactly which applications, which users are consuming your storage, and what aspects of that storage are they consuming at any one point in time. And we're building the right insights, the right visualizations to make you see what's going on much more readily. And I'll tell you a bit more about that again. This is just the start. We now have a UI built into the product, and we have a very, very scalable system called Insight, both of which provide some of these features. But this is a very, very important strategic goal for us to really make simpler a very sophisticated environment. And finally, in what's already happened, what we've already done this year, we spent all year, in fact, simplifying the upgrade procedures, management, and failure detection mechanisms within our SFA platform. So already done, already released is huge improved quality and manageability of SFA systems. And there's more to do. I'm going to talk about that next slide. So we've done a huge amount of work. Now we're nearly at a one-click upgrade process for our SFA systems that sit underneath Exascaler. And we've really advanced the metric collection to make much quicker the identification of SAS issues, for example. And as I said at the start, we haven't really stopped thinking about performance, and our performance work has resulted in firsts both in financial analytics, as you can see here. Please go to the Stack website. Stack is a analysis center dedicated to probing various systems for their speed when it comes to financial analytics. We did some great work there, and with some optimizations to reduce our latencies with a very, very small set of equipment, we provided the fastest storage system, outperforming all of our competition in many of those tests. And on the AI side, we've been working on a different set of performance issues and challenges, and working with NVIDIA and the GPU direct storage, which allows us to move data directly from storage into the memory of those GPUs. We're able to see a pretty amazing number, so 162 gigabytes a second, so that's around 170 plus gigabytes a second of read performance into a single DGX A100 system. So into just one system with 8 A100 GPUs, using all those rails in parallel, we can push huge amounts of data. So absolutely unmatched performance in taking data from DDN storage into those AI platforms. And we marry that up with a very comprehensive set of reference architectures, which Craig's going to talk about later on today, and you'll see that introduced later on when we talk to our various panels members here. Right, so what's coming in 2021? The important story, by the way, so far is that we've really done a lot, and it's out now. Exascaler 5.2 brings all of those technologies I've talked about, the simplicity and upgrades, the snapshots, synchronization, and data tiering is all built in today. So what else is there to do? So the first point is a continued focus on simplifying. Our AI products already simplify things. They're shipped from the factory ready built, and they come with rather beautiful GUI, a web UI. We're focusing a lot more on that web UI. Here you can see a mock-up, which is evolving out of our enterprise division and being brought across into our at-scale division. And essentially what you're looking at here is much cleaner, more visually compelling and much more pertinent data presented to our administrators about what's going on at a detailed level in their systems. So you can see at an absolutely instant glance who's using what when in your system and identify where performance bottlenecks might be appearing. And there's more. We've been working on all sorts of UIs that spread out of our ecosystem. So we can detect the application environment. We can detect latencies in the clients. We can detect what's happening in these DGX systems and what the GPU consumption is. So we can actually have a unique view of what's happening in the whole infrastructure, even though we're essentially a storage system, because we see all the behaviors, because we have this client running on the compute side, we can see more behaviors than just storage behaviors. We'll be presenting that back to our customers in 2021. And so if you're a DDN customer and you use Exascaler, around the middle of 2021, you'll see some new cloud analytics being presented back to you, and you get new interesting insights into your systems. Two more things. Hot nodes is a great technology for accelerating even more data, particularly for AI and analytics. So it complements hot pools, which we talked about before. Hot nodes, you select individual powerful clients such as a DGX, and you provide lightning fast access to local files on that system. However, those local files are managed through Exascaler, and Exascaler maintains full coherency of the file system. So essentially, it's fully transparent for you and your users. You just get very, very fast access to that data using local SSDs. So hot nodes is a work in development. You'll see that coming to market in 2021. We're working with several people out there in industry, particularly NVIDIA on this one. Going further, I've mentioned we'd talk a bit more about security. Security is genuinely, one of the strongest areas of development we've had for the last couple of years. And as I said, we're seeing it everywhere, in academia, in research, in life sciences, in hospitals where they've got various microscope data, potentially patient identifying data, and of course in government. There's increasing and encroaching with additional requirements on security. What we're going to bring in 2021 is client-side encryption. We've been working on it for quite a long time, almost 2 years now. We'll leverage the Linux FS script API. So we'll be leveraging some great technology, which gives you multiple choices in terms of your security algorithms. And we'll be encrypting both data and metadata so that we're protecting you against both storage theft and network snooping. And we'll also be working this into our multi-tenancy paradigm as well. So the different tenants can have different encryption keys and be guaranteed only to see the data they've got access to. Finally, as I say, we've been doing a lot of work across Exascaler. Much of that's been released. We're focusing on simplicity, beautiful insights and control into your data, security, and a few other pieces around integration with the GPU environments with hot nodes. Beyond that, we do have a rather wonderful product which is helping us enable this migration to Exascaler, which we've been seeing very rapidly over the past year, and we'll continue to see over the next 2 years. So customers who want to move data from Spectrum Scale, from NetApp, from Isilon at speed with a very robust and mature piece of software with the services wrapped around it, very parallelized, extremely fast data movements. We have a product called DDN Dataflow, tightly integrated with Exascaler. So we've been using this software very successfully to migrate customers onto Exascaler for about 1.5 years now. It's becoming a great product, and we're going to double down on this as we have more and more migrations onto Exascaler in the coming year.